not a prison nation. In this country today.
It's a symbol of the problems in this country today.
The 1% has decided that this building, which was once a progressive community school, is now a symbol of the prison industrial complex. This building is also known as the final incarceration place for someone who a generation ago fought these same issues. You might have heard of him. He was part of the Chicago 7, Chicago 8. And his name was?
Abby Hoffman.
Abby Hoffman. And so the same struggle that took place then is going on now. We want to let the people inside here know that we're in solidarity with you. And at some time, these walls will come down. These doors will fly open. And the true criminals, the 1% will get to move in. And then we'll see abolition for sure. So we're here to stand our ground, to claim this as liberated territory. And then we're going to move on. We're going to have a march through Harlem, which is one of the feeder points of the prison industrial complex.
In poverty and keep them enslaved to the system of debt. Those who've chosen to step out of the system of debt are in prison to enforce upon them the rules of this debt and capitalistic society. It's about prison solidarity. You want all the prisoners out and the sick 1% in. They need to see what it's like to be in solidarity for 23 hours a day for a decade and see if they can handle that, or work for 65 cents an hour and see if that's a living wage. That's slavery.
Thing about mass incarceration is not how many people are in jail, it's how much collateral damage there is on the outside. We have children of black and brown men and women who are fatherless and motherless with no direction. They are being groomed to take their new places in jail. We need to stop this now. We don't need to stop mass incarceration. We need to tear down the whole damn system. That's what's needed. And we have to start with government, we have to start with Wall Street, and we have to be very mindful of ourselves. The most revolutionary act that we could do for anyone is love. That's the only thing a revolutionary is really good at doing, is loving. And that love means fighting for the people and being a servant of the people. Mass incarceration must end.
And we will be talking about the connection.
And we will be talking about the connection
between Wells Fargo.
As
a particularly nasty. Representative of the 1%. And what they do. To fuel the prison industrial complex. By doing what they do best. And that's taking money from the 99%. And using it with the 1% to put the 99% behind bars.
I'm Jane with Occupy Wall Street.
I'm Jane with Occupy Wall Street.
And Families for Freedom.
And Families for Freedom.
One more.
Wells Fargo is an investor.
Wells Fargo is an investor.
Of GEO Group and CCA.
Of GEO Group and CCA.
Who run private prisons and detention centers.
Who run private prisons and detention centers.
And lobby for anti-immigrant laws.
And lobby for anti-immigrant laws.
To place more non-citizens in detention.
To place more non-citizens in detention.
To place more non-citizens in detention.
Every day there are over 33,000.
Every day there are over 33,000.
Immigrants in detention.
Immigrants in detention.
Every immigrant detained.
Every immigrant detained.
Means more money in their pocket.
Means more money in their pockets.
Last year alone. They made $3.1 billion in profit.
$3.1 billion in profit.
Wells Fargo's got to go! Private prisons, we say no! Wells Fargo's got to go! Private prisons, we say no!
Well, I've been involved in the Occupy Wall Street movement since last fall, and I think it's really exciting that we're joining with folks that are working on, issues around mass incarceration and freeing all political prisoners and having a more just so-called criminal justice system, which is really a criminal injustice system that really attempts to control oppressed people and police oppressed communities, and has been doing that really, since the beginning of this country in different ways. So I think it's powerful that we're all out here today in Harlem voicing our opposition to this. At the end of the day, this is really aligned with Occupy Wall Street, because prisons serve the interests of the 1%, and they serve the interest of controlling the 99%, and really controlling the bottom of the 99%. And until the bottom of the 99% is free, none of us are going to be free.
We want freedom for our young.
We want freedom for our young.
We want freedom for our old.
We want freedom for our old.
That are languishing in state prisons.
Well
into their 60s and 70s.
Well into their 60s and 70s.
I just want to say.
One more word.
For all the people. In solitary confinement. Solitary confinement is torture. Solitary confinement is cruel and unusual punishment. I want to give a special shout out to the people in Pelican Bay.
To the people in Pelican Bay.
Who inspired this nationally.
Who inspired this nationally.
With their list of demands.
With their list of demands.
That's people power.
That's people power.
That's transcending.
That's transcending.
Bars, walls, whatever.
Injustice.
I want to also give a special shout out. To all the people in Colorado ADX. This country's most secure federal prison.
This country's most secure federal prison.
Luis Felipe. Larry Hoover. And a host of other people. Are languishing in those cells. Unable to write a letter. And unable to receive mail.
To the new Jim Crow. To the new Jim Crow. To the new Jim Crow. We don't want a prison nation.